Okay, for this technique, you're going to need your X-Acto knife. I'll show you how to use that in a minute. You'll need your acrylic rolling pin, this acrylic or like plexiglass workspace. Possibly, you might not need it. Definitely a piece of cardboard. I just have like a scrap piece of cardboard, try and get something smooth. And then you're going to need 5 colors. I have 6 because I'm trying to decide which ones I want to use. Oh, you want to have some contrast, which is why even though I really just want to use all these cool colors, I'm thinking I might introduce this really warm one. So try and decide, try and narrow it down to about 5 colors that you think would look good together. Okay, it was a really hard decision, but I narrowed it down to these 5. Now what I'm going to do is start opening each of these, and I'm only going to use half for now, and you're going to want to open them and start conditioning them. And hopefully you remember that from last class. Really, when it comes to conditioning, you can warm stuff up in your hands and just push it in your hands, or you can also use the rolling pin on your acrylic workspace, and that seems to help, I think. And then fold it and roll it again, and just keep working the clay until it's more malleable. Okay, and then in between each color, I'm gonna condition the clay, and I'm gonna roll it into a coil eventually. And then as soon as I have that coil rolled out, I'm going to clear off this working space so that this color doesn't taint the next color that I use. Okay, so once the clay has been conditioned, you see here I already made 1 coil. I just want to go over how to do that. Try and get everything off of the workspace. If you need to, this tool I think is helpful for like scraping stuff off. But then once it gets to a certain point, you can just use your hands and roll back and forth. And then what I like to do is switch to working on this surface that's nice and flat and smooth. And you just want to roll your coil until it's about even. Okay. And so the thickness that I'm working with is like thinner than my pinky. But like not that much thinner, and it's about the length of this piece of plastic. Now you have to remember to clean off your workspace, and that is easier said than done. I want you guys to try using hand sanitizer if you have any at your house. I don't have any near me right now, so I'm just going to use this like scraping tool. I'm going to use the wipes. I put some wipes in your bin. You can try and use that to clean it off. But you really don't want that color contaminating the next piece. Sometimes it does this, I find, with the baby wipes. And then when it gets to that stage, I like scratch with my finger, and then it kind of comes off a lot easier. Yeah. So that works. Again, try hand sanitizer and see if you feel like that works better. But then you also want to just make sure your hands are kind of free of any colors. Make sure that those are clean. Make sure your rolling pin, like do a quick wipe on that. You don't want that contaminating your color either. So basically you just want to do that for all 5 of your colors. Okay, so now that I have my 5 coils rolled out and ready to go, I want to go over real quickly your X-Acto knife. Yours might look a little bit different than mine, but it should have a lid. I believe you guys already have your blade in place. They are a very, very helpful tool, but also a very, very dangerous tool. The blades are very, very sharp, obviously on this side, the side with the actual blade. Mine's a little more dull because I've been using it on like a variety of surfaces. But just in case like yours is a little loose or you need to change a blade eventually, It's this little textured band here. You just rotate and that loosens kind of everything. So you don't want to loosen it so much that it like falls off, because it will. But you could just like uncrank it a little bit, and that should loosen this part up, and then the blade can kind of come in and out. Okay. And so if I wanted to, this blade I don't think actually kind of fits in this one, but it's fine. And then I would just rotate this again and twist until it is tight. Okay, I know grown adults who work in, like the graphic design industry, who use these every day, who like lose parts of their fingers because they're just being kind of thoughtless and careless and kind of forget that it's very dangerous. So you just need to be aware of what you're working with. Always want to practice safety. All right, so my 5 coils, what I want to do now is combine them. I'm actually not going to try and smush them together or coil them, but I'm going to do this. And so you can see I have like the 5 together, and then I'm just going to kind of slowly roll them. And they naturally are going to want to stick together. I'm really not putting like hardly any pressure on this. And I'm not even trying to like pull it out and make it longer or anything like that. I just want to make it like one cohesive. All of a sudden it'll start to like, push and get closer together, and turn into like just a much thicker coil. And then what you want to do, I would get out your piece of cardboard, because I don't want you guys scratching up your parents' tables. So once you've rolled it, I would put it on cardboard, because X-Acto knives, when you're using them, sometimes will cut through and cut, like if you cut through the cardboard, it's not a big deal. So basically what I'm going to do is take my blade. Yeah, my blade is so dull. Yours will go a lot easier. And then cut through. And so mine looks like that. Okay. If there's like a big gap in between the different colors, you probably want to just keep rolling. And in fact, mine's not super cylindrical right now. Like the coil isn't like a perfect cylinder. That looks kind of cool. That's just the end though. I'm going to kind of discard. I might actually keep rolling a little bit just to get it all together. It should be like about this thickness actually, and look like, a cylinder, like a rolling pin. All right. Now we're going to slice these into discs. And I know that, some parts might be a little thinner than others, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world. I want to, if you have a ruler, you can grab a ruler, and that might be helpful for some of you. You can also kind of eyeball it. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to go kind of on the thicker side. I'm going to go almost like, I don't think I want to do a ½ inch. But I want to go in between like a 1/4 and a half. Maybe I will do a ½ inch. Yeah, I think I'm going to. You can even do this where like you just make a mark each, like on your ruler, every ½ inch. If you don't have a ruler at home, you could, I don't know, use something consistent as like a marker. All right. So once I start cutting through all of these, I'll fast forward through this. But I'm going to have a bunch of discs that look like this, that are going to be a ½ inch thick. So I'm just making my marks so I know where to cut, and I'll fast forward. Okay, so now that I have my discs, I just want to kind of shape them a little bit. And then I'm going to arrange them. I'm just going to like place them next to each other. I think I'm going to, you could like mix it up and, play with the direction. I'm going to, I don't know, I'm looking at like the purple piece, the dark purple here. And I'm kind of placing the purple on the left-hand side for each of them. And they're all going to be like a little bit different, and that's okay. We're going to like smush it all out in a second. But I'm kind of like, I'm actually like already kind of pressing them downwards a little bit and like pressing them a little bit flatter because they are pretty thick. They're like a ½ inch thick. And then I'm just going to make like a grid, basically. I don't know how many pieces I have. I might need to rearrange this. But you could be like a little more organic with it, and like each one could be in a different position, and so it would be a little more like randomly shaped. What am I gonna do? I think I'm gonna do like this, and actually bring this one, because I haven't like smushed them into one another. So I'm gonna like bring that one over here, bring this one over here, and then I had like this. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. These are just like the little nubbins on the ends. I wasn't planning on using those, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll figure out a way to like repurpose those. It'll probably just be like a corner anyways. It'll probably be like repurposed. So there, maybe I'll just do that. I have a feeling it's all going to get like smushed together. So I'm placing this on the cardboard because I need this to release once I roll it out. Okay. So I'm gonna, now that I have my like cut discs in place, I'm gonna take my rolling pin, make sure it's clean. I know I cleaned it off. And then I just want to roll my rolling pin. And let's check and see, is it gonna come off the cardboard? I find that it comes off the cardboard a lot better than the acrylic, that like clear work. It's like sometimes it sticks. I just feel like it sticks to that. I saw people in certain videos like using their rolling pin also to kind of like smoosh it together and keep it in this like rectangle format. So you can do that. And then there we go. Now it's happening. It's sticking to the acrylic. Maybe I'll switch out and try using this one. Maybe this will work better. You guys have this one in your bins. This one came with your actual clay. Yeah, oh, this one's working actually a lot better. Okay, again, I'm gonna start like pushing this way and this way to get them to squish together. Okay, and then I just want to be careful when I'm doing this. I don't want to get a whole lot thinner than 1/4 inch. Okay, at least they're sticking together a little bit better now. I think the more you roll it and the more you smush them, the more likely they're going to stick together. Maybe I'll flip it over. Like this was the piece that I kind of piecemealed together. It doesn't look great. There we go. Now they're all kind of like blending together. I kind of wish I had been a little more organic with it. There we go. Cool. I'm happy with where this is going. I kind of like that stretch, you know. Now they're really sticking together. They're not like, it's not like falling apart. At the beginning it really was. But this one feels cool. Alright, so that is a slab. And I just want to make sure that I can peel it off the cardboard. It's not sticking. The back definitely doesn't look as good. This is my first time doing this. But I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with the thickness. So if you look here, like it's a little bit thinner than 1/4 inch. So that's like the size that we're aiming for. But now I think I'm ready to add some textures, and I'll zoom in for that.